So if you're there today we are talking entrepreneurship. You are here with Garth Massey and Philip Folsom. You already knew that. So here's the deal. 2 tips on entrepreneurialism. So what you have here are 2 guys who had a side hustle of some sort, both different stories. I had a real corporate job and was working in America doing stuff, and then decided to start as a hobby almost teaching programs. And then those programs grew into bigger programs. And then one day I had that moment where I had to stop doing the job and start doing this job. And then now this is all I do, and for almost 10 years. And then you had Philip, who for 20 years did this, but as part of a larger organization, and found niches and ways to connect with people as an individual. And now for many years has been running his own program. And I don't want to oversimplify either of our stories because, they're worth a couple minutes on a podcast or something to listen to. But we thought today we would bring you, Philip.
We're going to give you 2 tactical tips for entrepreneurship. These are things that we have found are time tested to keep with the alliteration, and indispensable things that you should either be doing or not doing. So stay with us, stay tuned, jot down these 4 things, and you'll have a shortcut.
And here's the trick. I have no idea what his 2 are. So if we're 2 of them, I'm going to change it midstream, come up with something fresh. But this stuff's important because the economy's changing. And it always is changing. The markets are changing. The industry is changing. The competition is changing all the time. And if you have a side hustle, and many of you do, sometimes it feels like you're on an island. And so a little bit of help might not hurt. So you want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first. And the first one that I have been tangibly aware of is that for all you entrepreneurs out there or want to be entrepreneurs, you are never going to be off. You're not going to have full weekends. You're not going to go to Hawaii or Burning Man and go like, oh, I'm on vacation. That's not the case. Being an entrepreneur is being a parent, and you don't get to just not wake up and feed the kids. So with that in mind, establishing a schedule that is sustainable, realizing that you're going to be doing this sporadically every day of your life, right? Until you exit or you're able to hire people to do your job. So maintenance, self-care, sustainability, resiliency, building breaks in so you don't burn out, because consistency is going to be the thing that will be your lifeblood as an entrepreneur. That's number 1 for me.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, you do get eaten up. And I'm thinking as you're talking about that, if you've made it this far, this is not a hobby for either of us. If you didn't catch that in the beginning, this is all we do. I don't have other side hustles. And when I get cold calls of hey, you want to make a little extra commission dollars selling turtle pieces to, whatever, I say no. I don't, this is all we do. And with this, we pay for our lives. So we're not, entrepreneurs in the I built a business with 50 employees or, launched a new product line kind of thing. But we're people who figured out, how do you do something you care about, engage with lots of people, and still make a living at it? So I don't know about you, but I don't think you're selling vitamins on the side or anything that I don't know about.
No, I'm working with humans and doing what I do.
Working with humans, doing what we do. So, all right. So number 1 was set a schedule. All right. So my big one, I want to go straight up maneuver warfare on you. And the idea of surfaces and gaps. We often, when we get into conflict, and conflict can be me pitching my new idea, my new product, my new jam, my new whatever, right? We go up against resistance. And when we hit the resistance, often people, and armies for sure, have doubled down, right? We lower our shoulders, we lean into our shields, and we press. And that feels like the right thing to do. But in the marketplace, it doesn't care that you love your idea. Sometimes you can press and you are ignoring all the signs that you ought to slip to the side a little bit. So the idea of surfaces and gaps is, when you are in a contest of wills, right? Which is you against the marketplace, or you against your competitors, or however you want to line it out. Look for the gaps. Look for the places where what you do differentiates from what other people do. Look for what you do can add or augment or enhance your client's position, add value if you want. That's a popular word in sales. But if you're showing up and you say, I make widgets, and they're like, well, we kind of have a widget factory here at the factory. And then you're like, well, you're stupid. My widgets are better. You're wasting your time. All right. So you should be spending your time figuring out what word, what phrase, what product, what thing lights a spark and helps people recognize that you do something that will enhance and make them better. That's a gap. Jump in the gap and run with it. But don't lay yourself out to do surface against surface. That's just foolery. I don't know if that's a word.
Tomfoolery.
Tom.
Okay. That one is so important that it's kind of my number 2 also. Right, but I'm going to give you a slight overlap. There'll be a Venn diagram. So there's going to be additional value with my number 2, which is related to your surface and gaps. Ooh, Venn diagram. Oh man, look at that. All right. So in reference to the surface and gaps, pushing against a surface is like trying to boil the ocean or trying to lean and move the world or an industry or some huge thing. So instead of trying to be everything to everyone, how we are able to exploit those gaps is to get very, very sharp and focused and pointed. And so that means, from a brand perspective, get very specific about what you do. Find out who are your clients and don't try to please everyone. This is very uncomfortable and scary to say, yeah, that's not my people and that's not my industry. This is the specific thing that I do, because that is able to take advantage of smaller gaps. So get very targeted in what your brand is and what it's not, which is, it's an uncomfortable thing to do, but very, very important. And the distinction I'll close with on that is you don't want to be in the red ocean with everybody trying to push surfaces, like just nibble along on surfaces. You want to be in blue ocean where you're actually providing something that's brand new and you're the one thing. And it's hard to find, right? That's the unicorn, but you have it. We all have some unique genius because we have a unique, personal history and passion source. So it'll take you a while, iterate, keep exploring, but find that specific thing that you do that allows you to take advantage of smaller gaps.
Small focused. I like that. Be focused. That's true. Because everyone is going to ask you for their version of what they think they want of what you do. And if you say yes to everybody. So, all right, that'll bring me to my second tip. Find your personal sense of value someplace else. And it's a nuanced one, but you're going to take a lot of hits. Things aren't going to sell. Sales meeting is going to go wrong. People are going to say no. And if you're not into sales, don't get into entrepreneurship, especially not in the service industry. But if you don't have some place or someone or something that you can find value from, when you take a couple of rejections in the business, it will start to reflect in the way you behave, and it will start to define your attitude about the business and your own character. And what will happen is you'll start to get depressed, and then you'll roll into the next sales meeting and you'll be a little bit depressed. Like, I know most people don't want this, but now I think maybe you should try it. And people pick up on that stuff in a hot minute and you're done. They'll boot you out. So what I would suggest is invest in your family and your relationships. And your sense of value needs to come from at least some portion of it from there. Like, it's okay to be proud that you're an entrepreneur. I'm proud that I'm out here hooking and jabbing and doing stuff and it's been working. But at the end of the day, if I get a rejection, I have my family that I've invested time in. I go do things with, I try and participate in their lives, and I get a sense of value out of being a dad, or out of being a reserve Marine, or out of the groups that I'm part of. I have several groups that I've joined, and I enjoy their time, even if it's just dads working out in the morning or playing poker or whatever, because some people I know get so myopically focused on defining their self through the lens of their business that when the business has a hiccup, they tank and everything tanks with them. There.
That's our time.
We had 10 minutes.
Boom.
All right.
Squeezing it in.
10-minute talk on tactics and all that tactical stuff. 2 tips.
Yep.
We'll put all 4 down there. Schedule boundaries, surfaces and gaps, be focused, and find other things of value so that you're not 100% hooked on the ebb and flow of business.